Hello everybody, this is Jason Roten with Primitive Life Training. Today I want to show you a little contraption that Corey Chapman showed me while we were out on our bushcrafting trip the other day, and I thought it was really neat. This is a cooking pot holder for a campfire, and basically what this does is allow you to adjust the temperature or the heat that your cooking pot is getting from the fire. You can raise it up off the fire or lower it down on the fire, and determine how much heat is getting to your food. Now, being in a survival situation or a primitive living situation or even a camp out, you want to be sure that you're able to cook your food correctly and make it worth eating. Let's say, for instance, you've been out there, you're in a survival situation, and you haven't eaten in days, and you finally kill something or trap something, and you got some meat. You got this pot, you can cook. You decide you're going to cook a stew with it. You certainly don't want your food to be undercooked, and you don't want it to be burned. You don't want it to take forever, so you want to be able to adjust your temperature accordingly. This allows you to do that by simply raising or lowering this hanger here. And so we're going to look at today how to make this, and it's very simplistic, it's very practical, it's durable if it's built correctly, it's self-balanced, and it's portable if you want it to be. If you have room in your pack, you want to take it with you so that you don't have to make a next one or another one at your next camp, then you can do that. However, you don't have to. You can just simply burn it, and then the next time you set up camp, if you're on the move, you can simply make another one. So anyway, let's begin by looking at the three sections of this, which is your support here, your main arm or pole, and your hanger piece. What I like to do is I like to get my support about maybe a foot long, has a Y on the end of it, and we're going to cut this off about here, and we're going to have a nice sharp point on it on the other end so they go down in the ground real good. So I've already prepared this piece except for cutting this off. So that's what we're going to do now, is we're going to even these up. We're just going to kind of go around that, break that off, and then this one here, pretty much the same thing. Just go around it. Break it off. And I always like to just sort of trim off my little ends there, make them nice and tidy. You don't have to do this. It's something I prefer to do myself, however. And you can see, alright, that piece is finished. So we're going to set this aside over here. Now the next piece is your main arm. This is kind of a smaller scale than what I would normally use. This is about 4 foot long, and as you can see, you want to again make a point sort of, because this is going to jab in the ground like this, and then on this end, if you can see, you want it to be flat. Now the third piece is the hanger, and we're going to discuss that last because it's pretty much the one that's got the most cuts on it and the most trouble with. So I usually save this one for last. Now, what I'm going to do is sort of move a little closer to me, because on these two pieces, I'll have to kind of get up in the camera and show you. So I'm going to take this one down for right now and move it out of the way. And we'll go ahead and put our support up for that. Now, again, with this part, it has to be flat right across here. And you want this, when it's in your support, it's sitting there, you want this right here to be horizontal with the ground. You don't want it tilted like this or like this. You want it as horizontal as it can be. So I've gone ahead and I've sort of done that, but basically what you want to do is just kind of get that flat, and from here to here you want about a 1/4 of an inch width right here. You don't want to shave it down too far. Now, here's the important thing. Right here, right in the middle, on the very tip end, you want to start just like you're going to make a bow drill hole in your fireboard, and just sort of make you a little hole right there. Now, what I like to do is I like to use my pocket knife for this, because there's less of a chance of me cutting my hand up this way. And you just want to kind of shave that hole out to where something will catch there and hang there. And it's not a gigantic hole, but you can see there. I know my lighting isn't just all that great, but you can see I've made a fairly good indentation there. So now we can set that piece up, and it's ready to go. Now, I'm trying to get some better equipment so I don't have to work with stuff like this right here, but your hanging rod, we're going to have a place here, which is going to be the part that holds your pot. And to do that, take a little saw, something, small, and you're going to cut down sort of at a slight angle into that, and you're going to go about halfway into the stick. So let's do this. This is the first cut that I make on this, because I can hang my pot now, and I can judge where each one of those little risers up through there need to go. So, as you can see, I went halfway through on both sides. Now, then you'll take your knife real carefully, start carving that back side of that out, leaving that lip. Do not cut that lip off, or you won't be able to hang your pot there. And just sort of start stepping that wood backwards away from that, flattening that down as you go. And it's kind of tedious at first, but you want to go in there and cut out as much of that as you possibly can to get a good lip for your pot, or else it'll constantly be slipping off into the fire. So once again, make sure that you go down far enough to have a pretty decent lip there. And you'll want to test it out kind of here and there until you kind of get the feel of it. Kind of test it out to see, you know, if your pot's gonna hang on it. If it falls off easily, just keep going a little deeper and keep kind of cutting back into that a little bit until it looks like that. And I like to kind of go back and flatten that off. Kind of allows me to be able to just pick it up like that and have it hang there. So we have that fixed now. Now the next part we're going to work on is these steps. You can have as many of them or as few of them as need be. So I marked them all the way up to here, and what I normally do is I want this point here, and I'll show you how to cut this here in a minute. I want this point to be pretty much in line with the middle of that all the way up on each one of these cuts. And what you're going to do is you're going to mark that center, and then you're going to cut an X. You're going to cut an X in there like that, and you'll have this is your hanging point. This is the point you don't want to cut off. The point that's down here closer to this you will cut off. So I just go ahead and saw through there and cut that off. And again, you want to go no more than halfway through your stick. You're going to get your knife and start just sort of cutting that out of there. All those pieces that aren't needed can be cut out. Now, here in a minute, we're going to turn this around and start cutting backwards toward this to sort of shave that off. So, first, we want to get all this cut out of here that we can. Clear it out of the way. And what you're going to do is you're going to cut back into here and sort of make this go back in up underneath this point right here. So just sort of start cutting back into it. Sometimes you have to take your saw and kind of saw a little bit across there to kind of knock some of that out. That's fine. Like I said, you want that to kind of go back up in there a little ways so that you got a little bit of a hanging point right there. Now then, turn this right around and start cutting that out. Be careful, I just almost did it, but try not to knock that point off. So just kind of be real careful at first, and even if you got a knot there, try to be as careful as possible until you start flattening it out. once you've got it kind of flattened out, you can turn it back around and be a little bit more precise, and you can kind of shave back towards you, even though that's a little dangerous. But I would turn it around and do it, but I'm trying to save a little time here. Anyway, there's our first notch cut. And we're going to kind of test it out here just to see how it's going to sit. And what we can do, if it hangs a little weird, adjust the angle of the main pole and set it back on there to see if it hangs satisfactory. And that's pretty good for our first notch. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to work the rest of them up through there, and then I'll show you what to do from that point on. And you want to try to be as symmetrical as you can. But being a little off don't really matter. The more symmetrical it is, the better it hangs. But I'm more interested in whether something's gonna work than it looking pretty. So, like I said, I try to be as symmetrical as possible, but I just don't get into just overdoing it. If you don't make sure that you carve back up underneath your point, it won't hang right neither, and that's something that you really do sort of have to pay attention to and spend a little time on, is getting up underneath that point so that it hangs. And you just go through there and do each one of those, trying to hold it up where you can see me working. Once again, like I said, it may get to the point where you have to kind of go back in there and use your saw just a little bit to deepen that hook up. Testing it out along the way. That's as low as I'm gonna be able to go with it. And you would just kind of, like I said, have to imagine maybe we got a Dakota fire pit right here, and you know. But there you go. You see each one of those about two and a quarter inches apart. And hangs very well all by itself. The more weight you add in here, the more that will straighten up. And then you, like I said, can lower it just by hanging those pieces in that little indentation like that, and you have your food. So anyway, I hope this brings some ease to your cooking experience in the bush. I'm trying to make better videos, more interesting videos, and more in-depth videos. I have a GoFundMe account. If you would like to donate $1, I've asked everybody on the group to just donate $1, and I will have enough to get some better cameras and some microphones so I can be sort of back away from the camera while I'm recording and everything. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm Jason Roten. This is Primitive Life Training. I'll see you again soon with another video. Thank you.